Hi guys, welcome to my next GDL vlog. For those of you who've been keeping up with me on blessingatthebar.com, thank you. We've had nearly 3,000 readers since the blog launched back in August. So if you haven't already, please go to blessingatthebar.com. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to lawcareers.net by clicking the link below, and head to Blessing Makosha, which is my own YouTube channel where you'll find the Blessing at the Bar series as well as other videos that I post. So where am I at now on the GDL? I'm about 6 weeks in, just over 6 weeks in, and I've had already had some highs, already had some lows, had my first coursework deadline. So if you're interested in finding out how I'm getting on with the GDL and you want to hear my tips and advice for staying on top of the workload and how to also balance the GDL with the pressures that it comes with and how to stay organized, then keep watching. So on to how I'm finding the teaching and the workload so far. I think the GDL is a very focused course, and I think that if you sort of detach yourself even for 1 second, you can really find yourself falling behind on content. I know that the lectures are, at least at City, are 2 hours long. They are very rigorous. It does require a lot of concentration. But what I would say is that if you stay engaged with what's going on in politics and society and in the law by keeping up with the news, the things that we're learning stop seeming so isolated, and you can actually see the links between different modules. And something that's really helped me is I chat to my mum a lot about the different things I'm learning. So she's a landlady and she has her own business, so it helps for me to just, you know, when something comes up in land law, for example, I'll text her and be like, oh, I just learned this thing about tenants, and she knows about it. And you'll be quite surprised, a lot of adults, because they're actually doing adult things like getting mortgages, buying houses, running businesses, or working for companies, they are aware of a lot of these legal principles that we're learning. So I would really encourage you, whilst you're studying on the GDL, to chat to your friends and family, to just talk about the different things you're learning. And I think you'll be really surprised about how relevant to everyday life the different things we're learning is. And that's definitely something that attracted me to come and become a lawyer, is the fact that I know that the law affects everybody's everyday life. So that's one way that I've sort of helped it be less of a huge mountain that I can't tackle, and changed it into like bite-sized pieces of information that I then fit to something that goes on in everyday life or something that's happening in the news. On to the first coursework deadline. I had my first essay, my first ever law essay, and I was just a little bit petrified, kind of had no idea what I was talking about. But then when I sort of looked at the question, took my time with it and broke it down, I actually found, well, I hope I found, fingers crossed my mark isn't too atrocious, but I think I found a way around it. So I think the thing that they really want you to see is just that you've got an understanding of the basic concepts. And I think that's definitely on the GDL, it is very theoretical. They need to know that you understand why a certain principle is, the different authorities that have, you know, supported and upheld that certain principle. And in the case of my essay, it was the court's decision to move towards a certain test a good one or a bad one? And at the end, it literally came up to, okay, what are the pros and cons of this different type of legal test? So you do need to have a certain degree of awareness of what the impact of certain legal decisions are, or the impact of certain legal tests are, because it is more than just, you know, this is what the law is, but obviously the law is going to mean something to different people in different contexts. And I think, at least I think that's what the essay was trying to get to the point of. The good thing about our essays is that we get them back in 3 weeks. The bad thing is that I have another deadline knocking on the door right now, and that's for criminal law. So we'll see how that goes. The good thing about it is that none of these actually count towards my grade, but take heed, put good energy into these, because obviously tutors are going to need to write references for you, and I'm pretty sure that at City their essays aren't anonymized, just so that they can target their feedback and really help and support you through your learning. In terms of how to stay on top of the workload, The GDL, yes, it's a heavy dose of information each week, and on top of that, you're doing pro bono projects, you're doing mini pupilages or VAC schemes, or doing applications for them, you're maybe working, you're doing all these other things on top. So it can become very overwhelming if you don't stay super organized. So one thing I like to do is write lists. I write a lot of lists. I set up in order priority what needs to be done at the start of the week. What things am I going to get out of the way on Monday? If you remember in my previous videos, Mondays is my free day. So what things am I getting out of the way on Monday so I don't have to worry about them later? I then put in, what are the long-term things on the to-do list that need to get done. I like to write down my application deadlines so I can remember, okay, these are the deadlines for apps. And I color code everything. I color code my notes, I color code my calendar. And for me, if I can associate things with colors, I stop worrying so much about like bits of information that I lose, because the GDL is reading a lot of black and white text, so having a little bit of color in your life can be great and really engage your brain. I know different people like to record voice notes for themselves. I know different people like to actually like draw pictures. So do whatever it needs, whatever works best for you, but ultimately be ahead of everything. Have a look at what's coming up next in the next week. Be ready for all of the different topics that come up. Sometimes I like to watch a little video. Marcus Cleaver, shout out Marcus Cleaver, has the best YouTube videos on legal principles and for law students ever, and I will link his channel below. He has saved me in European law, so if you're watching this, Marcus, thank you very much, you're my hero. I like to watch a couple of those videos before a tutorial, before a lecture, just so that when I go in, it's not like blindsided by all this information. On to the stress part. Now, mental health and well-being are conversations that we're having more and more in our society, and I do think that the stigma around, the fact that sometimes you're just not doing okay, the fact that that's being broken is a really positive thing. And on the GDL, yes, they say it over and over again, it will be the hardest year of your academic life. It will be the hardest year of your academic life. I personally had a couple of wobbles last week. I wasn't feeling as on top of everything as I wanted to, and I just got so miserable and frustrated, and I was crying, and I was just telling myself that I was branding myself a failure already. And my boyfriend was super sweet, and he reminded me that, he's super proud of me, and my mum said the same thing, and my family said the same thing, and it was all perspective really, because by actually reminding myself that there's people in this world who are so proud of me was really helpful in sort of taking the pressure off my shoulders and reminding myself that A, what I'm doing is hard and it is perfectly legitimate for me to feel overwhelmed, and B, that in any case everybody who loves me is so proud of me for doing this, and it is an admirable achievement. It is really brave, and you are doing great. So you're doing great. If you're on the GDL right now and you're stressing, look into my eyes. You are doing great. So don't be too hard on yourself. Take time to hang out with people who aren't aspiring lawyers, who aren't studying on the GDL, people who just want to see you happy and laugh and smiling, and spend time with those people and constantly remind yourself that you're a superstar. That's pretty much it from me on my update on the GDL. I will remind you again, for the people in the back who weren't listening, head to www.blessingatthebar.com to read my GDL blog, which I blog frequently, and make sure you're subscribed to lawcareers.net. So that's it from me. I'll catch you guys in my next video, which I'll be uploading around the end of the year, December, Christmas time, and I'll give you a summary of my overall of my first term on the GDL and how I'm going about revising all of the first term's content over Christmas. So I will see you guys later. Be sure to read the blog, and I'll catch you later. Peace.